People that work on movie sets. What are the most entitled actors you have ever met? Also a TV set. James Corden is an absolute jackass. Not the funny happy-go-lucky guy you see on TV. My favorite James Corden moment was when Jimmy Kimmel won a round of Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts by asking Corden to name one cameraman in the room right now. I used to work in the industry for a while. Asked some colleagues about the worst people they've worked with. More than one said Steven Seagal was a grade A douchebag. Another said Mike Myers was a nasty piece of work. I used to work in the film and TV industry. Tyra Banks legitimately will fire some people if they look her in the eye when passing in the hallway. Mostly interns. Ugh. On the plus side, Tom Hanks and David Tennant are genuinely amazing. And Eric Dane. Good guy. And an actress yelled at one of our new writers. And Eric heard about it. He later came by to apologize publicly in front of the whole cast and crew. Even though it wasn't his doing. Love that guy. And someone on the crew later tried to poison that actress. So. A professor of mine's sister met Jeff Goldblum in LA. And he got her number. Apparently he called her once at 4 AM to talk about snow. That was the only time they spoke. Worked in the business for about 10 years. I found that reality TV stars were the hardest to work with. I worked mostly with stars from Bravo and they were all entitled and horrible. Celebs I've met that were super nice. Rihanna. Mark Hamill. Tony Todd. Peter Dinklage. My friend has worked on Dr. Phil for years. He has a no eye contact rule and is apparently one of the nastiest, most self-absorbed people in the industry. The no eye contact rule is because he doesn't want people to realize he's cross-eyed and his eyes are too close together. Source. I'm out of work and get depressed in the afternoon. I was playing a background doctor on an ER type drama a couple years ago. While rehearsing a scene, one of the actresses said to the performer next to me, "Tell him he can't stand there." She was referring to me. I adjusted my position and asked, "Is he okay?" She said. Again to the actor next to me, "Tell him I don't care. Just stay out of my way." I asked, "Is there some reason you're not addressing me directly?" And she turned around and walked away. A few minutes late the scene was shot without further incident. I have no idea who this actress is. She wasn't one of the stars. I have no idea who this actress is. Katherine Heigl Mayo. Bam Margera used to frequent the mall where I was managing a store. He was always cool and never seemed pretentious. One afternoon he came in with some friends. And they were all obviously either high, drunk, or both. They were in my store, making a scene, being obnoxious, and started throwing around merchandise. Before I could say anything to them, Bam turned around and yelled for them to stop acting like f-king children and to put everything back where they got it. Like good little punes. They did what they were told. He just looked at me and with a long and tired look on his face told me he was sorry about them. So, yeah. Bam seems to be a good guy. Many years ago I worked at Ubin Philly. We had a reservation for Don King one night but he and his large party didn't show. So about 15 minutes past close he calls and says he is running late but will be there in a few minutes. Owner asks essential staff to stay and about an hour later King and his party arrive. His party eats and drinks until after midnight but when presented with the check King says one of his companions was unhappy with the food. The waiter offers to take it off the bill. King makes snarky remark like, "Of course you will." He ends up leaving no tip on a nearly $2,000 bill while making staff work an extra 3 hours. My sister is a writer and has met and worked with lots of people in Hollywood. I asked her who the nicest celebrity she ever met was and she said without hesitation, Luke Perry. Third hand here so who knows. But a person I know has worked with Kevin Smith. During the filming of Live Free or Die Hard they were shooting Kevin's scenes. I guess the call time was 7 AM. Everyone is ready. Lights on. Sound check. Yada yada. No Bruce Willis. Turns out he was at a nearby bar having mimosas. The aide that went to get him was told I'm John McLean. What are they gonna do? Fire me? Or something to that effect. To Kevin's estimation, $90k-ish were wasted in pay, rental fees and whatnot waiting on Bruce to be ready to go. I was worried you were gonna say something bad about Kevin Smith cause he seems like a super cool dude in all the interviews I've seen of him. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway. And I cannot stress this enough. Faye Dunaway. I've had dealings with her personally and can vouch for her entitledness and nastiness. But my friend who works on movie sets has horror stories. Extremely demanding. And also picky. She brings her scales with her everywhere and will make anyone catering wade up in front of her. She has a no eye contact rule, which must never be disobeyed. And she also yells and screams when things do not go her way. Not that it's any surprise to anyone. But Michael Cera is a huge f-king asshole. I watched so many young musicians come up to him during the SX Bob Bomb tour, come up to him to talk about music or gush about how he inspired them. Only for him to either brush them off completely, ask them why they're talking to him, just have security come take them away. Total dick. Yup. Worked at wine shop. At closing we are ringing one last guy out. Doors locked. Sarah comes to door. Disappointed we're closed. We can't sell anymore. Guy gives Sarah his own wine, knowing he could not get more tonight. So nice. Then asks for a picture for his kid. Sarah says no. What a dick. I went to school with a guy who wound up co-starring in a feature film. I saw him in the bar one night. He walked up to this table of women and said, "So, who wants my autograph?" He even had a pen. The women had no idea who he was because the movie he'd been in was some short-run B movie nobody had even heard of. Insecure people who gain any sort of fame and recognition are the most cringy of all. I have a story I'm telling secondhand. This was in a hotel, not a movie set. So sorry for breaking the rules. Apparently Sylvester Stallone had been angering the cleaning staff because he was leaving shits in the shower. When the manager complained to his people about this behavior, his publicist explained that they had to understand that Mr. Stallone was a very busy man. Too busy to sit on a f-king toilet. Not a movie set but has to do with entitled actors. I waited on Kirsten Dunst at Uma Thurman's sister engagement party out in the Hamptons. I went from having a celebrity crush on her to not being able to stand her by the end of the night. She ran out of cigarettes at one point and made a huge ordeal over the fact that when she asked Star 41 no one had her brand, Yellow American Spirits. To be fair, she was drunk as hell at this point. She demanded that someone go out and get her cigarettes. And my manager made me oblige. I had to leave my entire section for about an hour to go on some crazy hunt during the peak of summer in the Hamptons to find her Yellow American Spirits. After I finally went to give them to her, she didn't say thank you or even make eye contact. She just reached out, took them out of my hands and pretended like I didn't exist. Uma Thurman on the other hand was a delight. Very polite and respectful. My mom's friends did security for concerts. She always told us about how nice the bands were, but Adele was a nightmare. Her fans started to line up before her concert outside of the stadium and Adele refused to do sound check because she didn't want anyone to hear her for free and you couldn't look at her when she spoke to you. AC/DC was the nicest band she encountered, and the Foo Fighters. I try to remember that everyone has bad days and good, and my interactions with people on a professional level can be just at a bad day or a good day. But that being said, working with Jonathan Frakes was so wonderful that at the end of our time together, I nearly turned around and said I love you, Dad. Everything this kid who grew up wanting to be Commander Riker could hope for.